This is the Cowboys Report. Before we begin today's show, we want your feedback. Please rate the Cowboys Report in the comment section. 1 to 10 is your scale. 1, the low end. 10, you think it's the best show you've ever seen in your entire life. If you're below a 7 or an 8, please let us know what we can do to make your experience more enjoyable here at the Cowboys Report. And here's what's coming up on today's show. The Titans have cut both Taylor Lewan, the left tackle, and wide receiver Robert Woods. Because so many of you ask, we will break down the potentiality of signing either of those guys for the Dallas Cowboys. And Courtland Sutton trade rumors have suddenly emerged. So we'll explore that outlet, and I'm actually very intrigued by that idea if I can land him. We'll begin, though, with the first name on that list, Taylor Lewan, the left tackle, now formerly of the Tennessee Titans. No real shock he was released. Lewan himself had said he fully expected to be released by Tennessee. He has expressed some interest in returning on a cheaper deal to Tennessee, but it's a pretty straightforward move. They save a ton of money, and we're talking about a Tyron Smith level of injury problem here at the left tackle spot. Missed 12 games at the beginning of his career. Last couple years, he's missed 33 games. That is a significant amount, and although I am open to adding offensive line help, and I think Taylor Lewan is still a good, although not what he was at his absolute peak left tackle option, I would be more inclined to ride with the youngster and Tyler Smith moving forward long term. And because of the injury uncertainty, you'd be moving on from Tyron Smith and then getting a similar-ish player of Tyron Smith's caliber at probably a similar-ish contract. So we're kind of swapping out 6 and bringing in, half a dozen of the other side. It doesn't maximize what I think you're trying to do with this roster with organizational standpoint. I think there are other teams in more dire need of a left tackle than what the Cowboys are currently situated at. So I don't think Taylor Lewan, unfortunately, despite the big name that attached with a former first-round pick out of Michigan, is the most logical fit for the Cowboys with the need, the injury history, the money, all that stuff. It just doesn't seem to quite fit from that standpoint. We're going to break down Robert Woods more in depth here in a minute, but of these two cut Titans, who would you rather sign? We're not doing the kicker Randy Bullock because this is my show, kickers are not people. Fat Randy is right, Sam. TL for Taylor Lewan, RW for Robert Woods. It's the pinned comments on today's video, so if an ad break comes here on YouTube, please take advantage of it. Head down there, type in TL for Taylor Lewan, RW for Robert Woods. Let's go more in depth now on Woods. Out of USC, a lot of time in his career with LA, most recently with the Titans. The issue here, why he was an obvious cut candidate, his production absolutely has fallen off a cliff. There are times where you see some up and down play. This is just straight downward production. 90 catches for over 1,000 yards, then 90 for 936, 45 for 556, 53 for 527. Not only is the yards heading in the wrong direction, the yards per catch is going the wrong way as the targets skyrocketed this year. We can blame the quarterback if we want to. That's fair. It was Tannehill and then disastrous Joshua Dobbs. Tried Malik Willis out there. It was an issue for Tennessee. I get all of that. Robert Woods tweeted freedom, or he's free, whatever the exact phrase was. But when you're on the wrong side of 30 now, you already got traded once. You're coming off of your worst really year of your career. I think this is not a player you should have that much interest in. Now, he was coming off the torn ACL, so you get the full rehab standpoint, but now you're putting yourself in the Michael Gallup bubble, aren't you? We're going to bank on 2 guys coming off of ACL injuries last year, hoping that things end up being a little bit better from that standpoint. I'm not really sure that's the most sensible move for Dallas. I do want a receiver, but Bobby Trees is on the wrong side of 30. I would have more interest in either a younger, faster option or someone I think is just better right now. I don't think you're getting 1,000-yard production, Robert Woods. I think you might be getting maybe 600 yards, which is better than what you had last year. Make no mistake about it, but that doesn't mean it's good enough for you if you're the Cowboys at the wide receiver spot. Today's Cowboys Report is sponsored by Cultivate, the free browser extension that brings transparency to your Amazon shopping experience. Cultivate shows you the brand, seller, or product origin and identifies local alternatives that support local community efforts while saving you money. With over 50% of Amazon U.S. sellers based in China, Cultivate offers a way to avoid trickery from these sellers and help keep money in the U.S. economy. Cultivate offers alternatives that are on average 30% less expensive than Amazon without any additional costs such as Amazon Prime. It can even identify a local alternative you can pick up the same day. Cultivate users earn free donations as rewards for using the extension, and the more you use it, the more you earn in donations by increasing your level. In fact, Cultivate donates 51% of the revenue that they make on your purchase. So what are you waiting for? Go to wecultivate.us/chatsports and download Cultivate for free. Let Cultivate bring transparency, savings, and community support to your Amazon shopping journey. Support the show and download with our link. It's in the comments section and the description of today's video. I'm really excited about this one here. Courtland Sutton, who we've been around long enough to remember when he was coming out of the NFL draft and how many of you, and myself included, had interest in Courtland Sutton as a potential Cowboys draft target. Local product at SMU. The Athletic is reporting that there is some buzz out of Denver on maybe a potential trade for Sutton, and given the apparent interest from Dallas way back when, this is a name that you could certainly consider exploring. Here's what Lindsay Jones of The Athletic recently said. There has been some buzz around Denver lately. The Broncos have some larger contracts and trying to figure out what actually is going to work with whatever the Russell Wilson offense is going to look like. Sutton's a guy whose name has been buzzing around a little bit as maybe a guy who could get moved. I am very interested in this one for what I think the trade value would end up being. So do you want to trade for Courtland Sutton? Y for yes and for no. You can get those votes in for me right now. Where else but the comment section? Let's begin, since it is the Cowboys after all, with the money. Sutton has a $14 million cap hit this upcoming year for Denver. That's not that bad of a number as far as I'm concerned. The trade savings check in at $6.79 million. So you're basically having very similar numbers for what Denver owes him versus what the Cowboys would owe him there. I'm very intrigued by that standpoint. The trade savings, not that great for Denver, by the way. New team over the next 3 years would owe him basically $14 million per year over a 3-year time frame. That's very affordable. That's basically the Michael Gallup contract for a guy that I think, from the same draft class, of course, is probably a little bit better than what Gallup is, especially for what Gallup has been lately. But there are concerns with Gallup and his recent play, or Sutton, with his recent play. I think the rough trade value would be a second-round pick. The receiver trade market is broken. You got Amari Cooper going for a 5th and a 6th-round pick swap. Then Chase Claypool goes for the 32nd overall pick. It just doesn't make any sense. I think a second, I don't really want to move a first. I have to pay a guy that's kind of a bit more than I would like to move. Sutton's had injury problems, missed some time as of late too. So I'm not sure that second-round pick is really enough for Courtland Sutton. But I think we're in the rough ballpark. Maybe you're throwing in a day 3 pick or conditional pick or whatever. But Sutton is coming off not the past couple years he thought he was going to. Before that extension, Courtland Sutton was one of the better young wide receivers in the NFL. He was, by the way, for those of you wondering, I pulled it up, my number 33rd overall player, my number 3 receiver behind Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore, with not the worst takes. Moore's been awesome, and Ridley, before he got suspended, was also really good at football. Courtland Sutton had 704 yards in 2018, over 1,000 in 2019, then got hurt in 2020, but has not yet topped the 900-yard mark since then. That is a fairly significant red flag. Remember, the extension timing wasn't the end of the year, so please keep that in mind. But Sutton has talent. There's impactability there. It's a question mark of, is he going to fully emerge as the guy that we kind of saw down the stretch this past year when he had really good production for Denver? Does he fully break out as that, I think, great piece alongside CeeDee Lamb? I've got interest there. Is the second round pick enough? I'm not so sure. But I think for what the Cowboys like at wide receiver, a bigger body guy, I think Sutton is good enough to not be the same full-fledged burner that I've wanted. I want speed on this team, but Sutton is a good enough playmaker, not to the same extent as DeAndre Hopkins, that yes, I have interest in adding him as a wide receiver piece. If you have not already, please make sure you guys are subscribed. Free videos, we'll call it 8, 9, 10 times a week here for free on the Cowboys Report.